Thanks for joining us. I'm Gabe with Backwoods Pursuit. Today we're going to do a Six Moon Designs Haven Bundle review. Now this is the Six Moon Designs Haven Bundle, and it includes the net tent, the Haven net tent, and the Haven tarp. So you get both of them in the bundle, and there's a bunch of other accessories you can add to it. I'm going to show you some of those as well, and go over the setup options for this and some of the tips and tricks that I've learned by setting this up to make this process super easy for you when you're out in the field. So come along as we do that. As always, we really appreciate it if you hit that subscribe button for us and follow us on our Facebook and Instagram accounts. I'll put links to that down in the description, and check out our website, backwoodspursuit.com, for a lot of other gear reviews. We've got a bunch of content over there for backcountry hunting, hiking, that sort of thing, so go check that out. Go subscribe over to the email over there as well to stay updated on all of our gear reviews. Let's get started. Alright, now before we get started on the setup and that sort of thing, I want to mention real quick, when you get your bundle, the net tent comes in this mesh stuff sack, and the tarp portion comes in this nylon stuff sack. Now for my applications, I typically leave them together. It makes setup easier, and I usually do use them as a double wall, which I'll show you in a minute, so all set up and attached together. If you do that, it does all fit in the one stuff sack that the tarp comes in. And in this stuff sack, I've got the net tent and the tarp, as well as the optional poles and the stakes, and it all fits in this nice compact package. Comes in at under 3 pounds. Alright, so one of the things you want to make sure you do when you set this up after you've laid out the shelter is stake each of the 4 corners in, and make sure you leave a little bit of extra room here, because you're going to need that when you go to put your poles in and stand the shelter up. So you want to do that. A couple of quick specs on this. The peak height here, once you put your pole in, is 45 inches, so you get a lot of headroom, which is super nice. I'll show you one of the new design features with this bundle, which gives you extra room in the right places up around your head. And then also the weights here. So you've got just the tarp here is 18 inches. So if you want to run it with just the tarp, you've got an 18-inch 2-door shelter, which is real nice and that lightweight that way. If you want to add the net tent, which is already in here, I've already attached it there. I'll show you how to do that in a minute, but the net tent runs 16 ounces. So if you want to run both, you're at 34 ounces. And then you have the option of using some of these poles. These are extra poles that you can purchase from Six Moon Designs. And these ones are the carbon 5-section poles. So they fold up real nice and small. So you can roll up right in your shelter and roll it up when you're putting it in your stuff sack. Super nice that way. They also make a 2-section carbon pole like this, and that's 1.8 ounces for the 2-section. It's just longer, of course, so it doesn't compact as much. And then they also make an aluminum 2-section pole, which is 3 ounces. So give you some options there. And finally, if you don't want to use any of the poles, you can of course use a stick or something like that, but you also can use your trekking poles, put them up to 45 inches, and you're good to go that way, so save some weight on the poles. So a couple of options there. The stakes, I'll pull a stake out here. Six Moon Designs recently redesigned their stake here, and these new stakes are much improved over the last ones. So you've got a triangular design there with a pole string on top, and that's way stronger than the previous ones. Previous poles, I had issues with them bending, but these are awesome, and it's only 2.5 ounces for 6 of them, so nice and lightweight as well. So let's move over here. I'll show you how to get the pole set up. There's a little bit of a nuance there to getting that done, and then we'll go to the rest of the shelter. All right, so we got it staked down there. Next step is here, go and take your pole or your trekking pole. These ones again are the 5-section poles, which are nice and compact. Find one of your doors. It doesn't matter which one to start here. And up underneath here, you'll see a little rubberized place to put the tip of your pole. Now, the tip of your trekking pole would go in here, or the more blunt tip on the 5-section pole goes right in there. And then you slide that up in there. Make sure the top of this is folded back over, so you get it up in the pocket there. And on the bottom here, there's a little grommet where the bottom of this pole is going to go. So go ahead and stick that in there. And then you will use this as your tensioner. So we're going to go ahead and stake this in the ground. Right, so once we got that staked in the ground there, one of the design improvements here on this Haven is this clip-in system here for the vestibule. You've You've got a clip here on this side which is adjustable, and then a clip here on both sides of the vestibule here, on both sides of the zipper. So you can set it up to where either one of the doors is attached and the other one is the one that's going to open. So go ahead and select which one you want, clip it in there, and then we'll go ahead and give this just a little bit of tug up on top, just enough to hold it in place till we go to the other side, and we'll go get that other side staked in, and then we'll be all set up here. Alright, so here is the Haven all set up. Basically just put your poles in on both sides, tension them down, tension down your vestibule clips. Pretty easy that way. And again, I've got the net tent set up on the inside already, but I'll show you that in a second here, how that attaches. But this is what it looks like all set up. So one of the unique things about the Haven here, as you can probably tell, is that that side down there, the foot of the tent is longer, and you've got a shorter aspect, or shorter length of the tent here at the head of it. Now that's unique in that it gives you a steeper angle on your sidewall here on the inside, so you get more headroom here where you want it and need it, and then less foot room there, or less height down at the foot of the tent where you don't. So make sure when you're setting this up, you know which is which, so you don't set it up where your head needs to be on the bottom side there if you're setting it up so your head's uphill, that sort of thing. So be aware of that, but super unique that way. Now this is as far as material, a 30 denier nylon that is silicone coated on the exterior here on the tarp portion. The net tent is a 20 denier no-seam mesh with a 30 denier floor as well. So let's get onto the inside of this, and I'll show you how to attach the net tent if you just want to use the net tent, or if you want to use the tarp by itself. They detach fully, super cool system. But one other thing here, you do have a vent system right here on both sides, so you can ventilate the inside, give yourself some condensation control if you're using just the tarp portion, or even if you're using the double wall option, it gives you a little more ventilation on the inside of the tent. Alright, so here is the Haven net tent combo setup. Here's what it looks like on the inside. You got a nice big door right here. It gives you a lot of room to get in and out of. Again, 45 inches peak height here. Get your pole here, and then on the inside you got a little pocket on both sides. And then the cool thing about this is if you don't like a single wall shelter, or if it's a situation where you want a double wall, obviously you throw these two together and you have a nice double wall shelter with a lot of clearance between the two, so really to mitigate the condensation issue you can have with a single wall. So it gives you that cool option. Now the way that this attaches here, the net tent to the tarp portion here. Now let me move the camera for you so you can see that a little bit better. So the way this attaches here is the net tent comes with this attachment and this separate tensioning cord right here. There's a little D-loop clip right there. So you detach that, and so that's the way it will come before it's set up. So you have, of course, the tensioning ability with that, and that's attached right here to the net tent. And so you go ahead, grab your D-loop right there, clip it on just like that, and then tension that down to give you the proper tension for the inside when you do have these together. It does give you a nice little extra storage area if you need to put clothes or something like that. You still want to have the ability to keep them out of the rain, and that's on both sides that you have that as well. Now you've also got an attachment point. If we go on the inside here, you can see right there between the net tent and the tarp. Now that is about mid, the center of the net tent, right in the middle there, and that keeps the head here, and this is the head of the tent right here, keeps that pulled away from you so you don't have an issue with your sleeping bag or whatnot touching. And then you also have this right here. You've got a pretty nice what, that 6 or 8 inches probably right there, where you're not going to have, before the wall here even starts angling up at all, you've got a good 6 or 8 inches. So you really have better clearance for your sleeping bag and your head, so you don't have any condensation issues there. I kind of do wish there was a better way to attach this to the ground when you're in the combo mode. There isn't. That's for use when you are using just the net tent by itself, but that is something you could manufacture something pretty easily, just a little piece of string or whatnot for that. So that's pretty simple there. Now I do like to put the extra guy line here on the outside, because that adds even more headroom. You're able to pull that away from the inside of the tent, and that kind of gives you an additional amount of headroom just right there, because it's directly tied together. So that's something that I found to be useful. Again, this is a 44-inch wide interior, so you got plenty of room for two standard pads If you had two 25-inch wide, extra wide pads, it might not fit that great, but it's good for two people as long as they're not the wide pads. So that's a quick rundown of how the net tent attaches there. All right, so to get the net tent set up, I went ahead and pulled off the tarp, which is real simple. Basically, just detach right there, detach on the corners, on each of the four corners, and then detach up on the where the poles there, where I just showed you. Detach there, those, so you'd have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 attachment points, and then these two if you've attached them. So 8 total attachments from the net tent to the tarp. And so to go ahead and get this transferred from the bundle setup to just using the net tent, the way that this attached before was through this clip right to the tarp where it came down here. So what you're going to do is take that little the clip there, and there's a similar or the exact same D-ring right here on the bottom. You're going to clip that together and create a little V there, and then you'll go ahead and put that over the top of your stake right there. And then I've already done that on the other sides there, but that'll go ahead and make that to where you can get the poles put in here. I put the one in over there already. I'll show you how to attach the pole here on the top next, and then we'll be all ready to go with the net tent. Next, you'll go ahead and grab your pole, and just like you did when you had the tarp on there, you've got, like I mentioned earlier, you've got now just one of these rubberized little boots, if you will. Got that D-ring right there, and you'll go ahead and put this, the more blunt end of the pole, or the tip of your trekking pole right in there, and now leave the D-loop on the or the D-ring on the outside. Grab that, and you're going to go ahead and put that in the grommet down here below, and just like you had it with the tarp on there, now you've got the same exact setup, just without the tarp over the top of it. Once you've got that, you've got another one of these pieces of rope here, and this does come attached to the net tent. When it comes to you, I had just taken it off because it gets a little bit in the way of the zipper when you have the combo set up. So go ahead and just reattach that little D-loop clip right there onto that plastic D-loop. You have another loop right there. That's going to be where you put your stake in. So go ahead and just stake that down. I'll put it over the existing stake that I just had right there. And then we'll go ahead and tension that just a little bit, and you're pretty well set to go with your net tent, just like that. And you're all ready to go. You can reattach the guy lines or put additional guy lines on the edges there if you want to have more tension at the head and the foot. But that's really all there is to it, and now you are set up for, if you're going to have a nice warm night and you just want to have a good breeze, you're all good to go. So once you've got that all set up, go around to each of the corners, and you do have this adjustment right here on each of them. You can go ahead and tension that down, give yourself a little bit more tension from the corner to corner, and just adjust that as you want, and that'll give you a nice tension there. Now, as you can see here, this is where you could attach another guy line if you wanted, maybe just a piece of rope to a tree or whatever if you wanted, or were concerned about that. It would give you a little more head clearance there, or that's at the foot of the tent. Up here at the top of the tent, that's where you could do it more, but as you can see here, you already have a lot of headroom clearance, even if you don't do this, but do that and then you have just a ton of headroom. So it's real nice that way. Go ahead and tighten up the last piece here if you want, there and there, and you're really in good shape now. We're all set with the net tent. It's your 18 ounces here plus the 2.5 ounces for the stakes. And you have a real nice shelter for those warmer days when you don't need any rain protection. So that is the second setup option. You can really see the different angles there without the tarp on there, where the head of that really gives you some nice head clearance with that steeper angle up on the left there. So that is the 6 Moon Designs Haven Combo shelter. I'll put a link down in the description for you so you can check it out for yourself. Go check out this tent, the net tent, the tarp, whatever combination you like. Again, this was the combo 45-inch height, so great for 2 people, 44-inch width, 88-inch length, so good for tall folks as well. Gives you a lot of room on the inside to move around. Really a nice shelter, right around 3 pounds, depending on what accessories you add to it, whether or not you take the poles or that kind of thing. So anyways, go check it out, link in the description. Thanks for watching here today. We'll see you next time.